Hey guys, Prowl1701 here, and today we're continuing our ranking of the Star Wars saga, or the Skywalker Saga. That's it, I can't talk today. I'm joined with my Saberforge Exalted, with his Amber Blade, in the Saberforge V4 Infinity Blade. Always a nice thin neck hilt. It's going to be helping me out a little bit here with this review. Anyway, if y'all have been following along, we are at number 3 in our list of ranking the Skywalker Saga. And we're going to continue today with... this is going to be a controversial one, I already know. Anyway, number 3 on my list is Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back. The one that tops a lot of people's list. And I'm going to be the first one to say that's a bandwagon statement. There are a lot of people that's genuinely their favorite Star Wars movie. But I also think there's a lot of people, they're like, I read it on the internet, so it's got to be the best one. Because heaven forbid people think for themselves. However, I will admit that this ranking list is my favorite Star Wars movies. Not necessarily what I think are the best Star Wars movies. And those are two different things. There's a difference between your favorite and the best. Like Highlander. My favorite Highlander is Highlander 2. But the best Highlander is not Highlander 2. It's definitely the first one. There's a difference. So while I do think Empire Strikes Back could arguably be the best Star Wars movie, it's not my favorite. There's just a couple others that I enjoy more, that I like to watch more. So, but I do think Empire Strikes Back, a lot like Star Trek II Wrath of Khan. I think a lot of times, since they're the ones always over on the internet as the best, that a lot of people just kind of gravitate toward them because of that. Especially people who are more casual watchers, viewers. However, there are a lot of things about this movie I love. The set design is amazing. It does a great job of conveying each scene it's in. Hoth looks fantastic, which I'm sure they shot on location somewhere, but it looks fantastic. The Dagobah set looks great. I love what they did there with that. Cloud City looks good. I especially like the rooms, where like the carbonite chamber is. All the spots where Vader and Luke battle are realized really well, and I really enjoy that. The lighting in this movie is done really well. Lighting does tone a lot. I really like when Luke is inside the old tree and sees that vision of Vader. That's done well there. The lighting when him and Vader are really fighting. The lighting on Dagobah. But I like how Hoth is so bright, because we're used to... Empire Strikes Back really does, as I've mentioned before, really does... circumvent our expectations in ways. That's what I'm looking for. It does the unexpected, a lot like Last Jedi tried to do and failed to do. It really does kind of turn what you expect on its head, and it has the big battle at the front instead of the end of the movies. You're used to the big battle at the end of a movie, where Empire Strikes Back has theirs right at the front, and instead of in space, it's right there in, bright snowy area. The snow is white, the sky is blue. It's this big bright thing, which is very different than even most other Star Wars movies. And so I really like that, the way it turns everything on its head and kind of flips the script there. All of the actors in this movie are great. Mark does a good job. Vader really comes into his own here. The character Vader really comes into his own here, and we kind of see how menacing and powerful he can be, and the fact that he doesn't tolerate failure very much. You learn this is not a guy to cross. The Hoth snow battle is really good. Some people, it's their favorite battle in Star Wars. We get to see more of Wedge, which I like. And I like some of the other members we see, like, was it Hobby? The one who he finds them and rescues them, I think. He's the one who finds Luke and Han and rescues them. And then later you see him in the space battle. I liked him, what we got to see of him. The whole evacuation there when they're getting attacked. You got to see, what's his name? Julian Glover. Is that it? Julian Glover in it? The Imperial guy who told Vader, yeah, the shield will be down momentarily. You can begin your land attack. I like him a lot as an actor. I know he was in Indiana Jones and Last Crusade. He's also in my favorite episode of Doctor Who ever, an old Tom Baker episode called City of Death. He plays the main bad guy of that one, and best Doctor Who episode of all time, in my opinion. And the pacing of this movie, this could be the best paced Star Wars movie too. Like I said, this is arguably the best Star Wars movie ever made. I will give that, but I'm ranking my favorite Star Wars movies, not what I think are the best Star Wars movies, because again, there's a difference. But the pacing is really on here. There's still moments I could fast forward through, but only because I've seen it a gajillion times. Yoda, this is where we first meet Yoda, and he's really cool. I like how he's really humorous at first. That's really funny. Mine. I love that. And the fact we realize he's testing Luke, and then when he becomes Obi-Wan, he's this sage, wise old Jedi, who again is not who Luke is expecting and not who we are expecting either. So this is another instance of Empire Strikes Back really flipping the script and catching us off guard because of our expectations. We're not expecting that guy to be this wise Jedi Master who's so wise he taught Obi-Wan. So, and then of course this is when we first learned the Force ghosts can project themselves physically, because in Star Wars we just heard Obi-Wan's voice after he died, but we actually get to see the Force ghost of him here, and it's nice to have Alec back. He's good when we get to see him. The lightsaber battle between Vader and Luke is really well choreographed and really well done, and arguably the best fight of the original trilogy. That's really hard to say, because I like the Return of the Jedi one a lot too, but it's still really good, because keep in mind, while Luke's fighting this, he thinks he's fighting the guy who killed his dad, so he's got this is personal for him. And the interesting thing is, you get the whole battle, Vader's toying with him. Vader's not fighting all out. He might be trying a little harder at the end, but he's never fighting all out. Especially at the beginning when he's just using one hand and he's just, he's just over there. Yeah, okay. He's just testing him, seeing what he knows. You can tell he's toying with him almost the whole time. I mean, he's definitely more than a match for Luke at this point. Although Luke impresses him. The way he gets out of the chamber and he's saying most impressive, that's nice to see. And then, of course, I like when Vader starts toying with him just by throwing stuff at him with the Force. Maybe trying to make him angry, see if he can pull some of that dark side out on him, testing him some more. He fights a little harder at the end when you kind of see him come out swinging. And Luke gets one good lick on him. But ultimately, he loses he just loses. He shouldn't have went. Yoda tried to warn him, hey, you're not ready. And this is an example, a lot of people talk about Luke, like, say Last Jedi Luke doesn't quite feel like Luke. And while I agree it doesn't 100% feel like Luke, they have to understand that Luke is a flawed character to begin with. He makes mistakes. He's not this, hero archetype that's perfect. Empire Strikes Back is a perfect example of that. The fact he gets impatient with Yoda. Empire Strikes Back is about Luke failing a lot. Don't get me wrong, he succeeds at the beginning with the Hoth mission when he blows up the AT-AT, and when he gets away from the Wampa, But here, he fails Yoda's first test by being impatient. He fails the test at the cave with the fake Vader, and then going off half-cocked while his friends do turn out all right. He goes to rescue them, and they end up having to rescue him because he fails there too. So there's a lot of failure, and the cool thing about that is Luke learns from his failures here. But Luke is very much a flawed character. He makes mistakes. It's one of the reasons why Last Jedi has a lot of problems, but the Luke stuff isn't one for me. I can follow the Luke arc and understand it because he does make mistakes. He is a flawed hero. I really like that scene. The revelation, of course, about Vader being his dad. 30-year-old spoiler alert. That's a cool movie twist. One of the greatest movie twists in cinema history. And I could just imagine people in the audience at the time, especially since it wasn't as cliche as it would be now, just... And even then, you had to wonder, is he lying? Is he telling the truth? He's a bad guy. They lie. But yeah, that was really well done. The lightsaber effects look good. This is another one where, you have your regular edition, your special edition. Although I think most of the special edition changes in here work pretty well, especially the Emperor one. Putting Ian McDiarmid in over the original Emperor, having Ian McDiarmid there in that scene when the Emperor's talking to Vader is probably the best change the special edition made, period. It really adds to that scene, makes it a little more believable, and I definitely like that. I don't really like the fact Boba Fett now has Jango Fett's voice, but I can see why they did that since he's supposed to be a clone of him. So while I don't like it, I can understand it. Most of the other changes don't really bother me. I can't really think of a lot of them right off the top of my head. I like the fact Cloud City looks better, so I don't really have a lot of issues with the special edition here. Even seeing the Wampa in person doesn't bother me. It just adds to the Wampa to me. So I never really got mad about that. But yeah, it's a good movie. It's one of the 2 best sequels ever made. If I had to choose, the 2 probably best sequels to an original movie, it's got to be Empire Strikes Back and Terminator 2: Judgment Day. And it's hard to pick between them. It's a really well done movie, well paced, well directed, even well written. The dialogue's not nearly as hokey. Oh, and I didn't even mention Londo, whichever you prefer. Billy D. Williams adds such charisma to Lando Calrissian. He is really well executed. And you get the fact he's kind of a scoundrel like Han. You can see it there. But that he's also kind of going legit. But you can tell these 2 old friends are a little wary of each other. Leia's immediately distrustful. I don't trust Lando. I don't trust him either. I love that. And the fact he does end up doing the right thing and helping them. But he was a great addition to the Star Wars universe. And yeah, that's really the main thing. It's a good movie. I just happen to have 2 movies that I personally enjoy more, and it's my list. So don't forget to click the like button. Don't forget to subscribe to my other channel, Another Sci-Fi Guy, where I talk about Doctor Who, Star Trek, not Star Wars because I do that here, Babylon 5. Just got in my new Doctor Who box set, season 26, final season of the original series. I've been watching through it, and it is fantastic. And most importantly, thank you for watching.